Thanks for tuning into the Carry Handle podcast. Here's your host, Bryce and Kevin.
Welcome back to the Carry Handle podcast. I haven't decided what new intro and how I'm going to kind of parlay. Nope, those are, yep. Hi everybody. Welcome back to an episode of the Carry Handle podcast. I don't know what I'm talking about. We're keeping it. We're keeping it. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
What is to parlay?
We only have so much time. I feel as if maybe we should move on from my nonsensical words. How are you doing, Kevin?
To parlay with you, I'm doing well, Bryce. Thank you.
Oh my god. This is a theme that won't die. I just want to just let it die, please.
It won't die like a 380.
Oh, it sounds like somebody's got some foreshadowing. So we have decided that our first public episode of the year, because the last one was a bit of a dumpster fire that you may or may not hear snippets from in the future, we decided that we want to talk about the current state of the handgun market in our Lord's year of 2024. Basically, the differences and things that companies seem to think or seem to want you to want, and versus what you want and what you need and things like that.
I want you to
want me.
Copyright strike right there.
I need you to need me. No, okay, cool.
Doubling down on the copyright strike.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, double down. I'm just gonna put auto-tune on. So I figure the best way to kind of like kick this off is to kind of talk about how you and I have decided to solve the solution that is concealing a handgun from day to day.
Okay.
So you get to start because I started saying words first.
All right, I'll talk about how I conceal. So I did kind of a small evolution. My first concealment idea was I like minimalistic, easy to put on, moderately comfortable. I put it on, I can take it off when I get home. I don't like to take oodles of time to set myself up. I just want to drop it on my belt, go out the door, done. And then when I get home, I can take it off. I don't need to take much time to. Anyway, the way I do it is I have a Filster concealment holster, skeletonized, DCC clips, running a P365 with a dot, one mag, knife, pepper spray, light, done. That's kind of how I run on my days off, because I work at a place that frowns upon carrying a firearm, so I don't even opt to bring it towards that place. And that's as much as I'm going to say about the place that I work at for that.
Well, so I've created, or I have a similar kind of situation how I carry. However, I still do carry, but I have to go about it in such a manner that, because I'm around people and other just people in general that I don't want to share. I don't want to share that or disclose that I have a firearm on me. So, and what I do is pretty physical. So I need to be very mindful of my shirt being pulled up or me reaching above my head or things like that. So it was when I started, there was kind of like this evolution of what I carried. I started out with a 5-inch gun, 5-inch double stack 9mm with a Surefire X300,
Hell yeah, brother.
So yeah, and I was one of the guys that was like, it doesn't matter how big the gun is, you can conceal it. Well, that's not necessarily realistic if you have a job where you need to wear slacks and a polo and it needs to be tucked in and you don't get to wear a slightly larger shirt, or maybe it's a physical labor job and you have to exert yourself in a larger gun in Florida, because Florida's kind of warm.
Hot. Very hot.
Florida, very hot. So, and then on top of that, another issue that I have is that my sweat is ridiculously acidic. I mean, it's already acidic, but
God.
I have acid sweat. So
the sweat, it gets me. all the time.
Exactly. So there's other factors. I choose to carry in a Philster Enigma. I've been playing around
Woo!
with that for a while. I've been pretty happy with it. There's some things about it, but uh, I carry that with a Glock 48. No weapon light, just a red dot, a folding knife, mace, and a light. I'm planning on upgrading the light, just kind of shopping the market at the moment. Mostly lights, I think.
Foxtrot, the Foxtrot light.
The Foxtrot, Cloud Defensive, X3, or the Surefire Turbo EDC. There are a couple that I'm playing with. I really the Foxtrots are very attractive to me because
I'll,
with that kind of horsepower, candela and lumens,
yeah,
you
I'll
can
tell you how it
use.
goes when I get
Oh yeah,
mine.
no, for sure. Kevin's getting one. He's gonna be my little my my guinea pig.
Yeah, I'll go onto the streets and I'll use it, and I'll come back with a couple of GSWs and like, yeah, it worked. It worked all right. It blinded the guy.
It was good. It was good. I just didn't move
He,
after I turned the light on.
he still got a shot off on me, but I definitely blinded the shit out of him.
So I'm thinking moving forward, if we get something and we want to talk about it, we'll have like a little review section. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how everybody likes it. We'll see how we like it. Moving on.
Little powwow.
So there are things that we require out of a gun. Mine is air quotes non-pervasive environments. I want a
Yeah,
relatively adequate caliber with adequate capacity. I don't have backup magazines. Space is a
a factor.
yeah, space is a factor. I mean, I'm not a massive guy. I'm pretty short and I'm not all that big,
We're-
so I only
we're-
have so much room to put stuff on my body.
yeah,
On top of that, I don't want people to know I have a gun, and I'm active in terms of reaching over my head, going under things, and I just don't
yeah,
want people to see it. So that's a factor for me, and
right.
concealment's a very personal thing.
Yeah, I'm torn around with the idea of carrying an extra mag, but I never could find a comfortable, like, I slap it on, it's there, great. If I need it, I need it. But like mentally for me, if I don't want to get too far down the tactical road here. But I don't feel like I need, you know, an extra mag. Not right now in my life where I'm at and what I'm concealing, where I'm going and what I'm doing. I don't feel that the need for an extra mag. This is kind of how I am on the extra mag stuff.
I used to carry a backup magazine, a reload, or however it is that you want to approach it, whether you use it to fix a problem with your gun. But if you look at statistically the need for and I know that's like, oh, it's an average. Well, on average, you're not gonna need more than X amount of rounds at a distance. And okay, fair enough. I've criticized that in the past, but
Oh boy, have you.
when there's other things on your body that I think take way higher priority than additional ammunition. Now,
Right.
in on top of that, reloading, we both carry smaller guns, and reloading smaller guns really fucking sucks. So
Yeah, it
ideally, you're
does.
putting the
Say,
bullets where they
say,
need to
say that
go.
again for the people in the back.
Reloading small guns fucking sucks.
Amen, brother. Amen.
So what I really like to do is Kevin and I have been both carrying for almost 10 years. We've been playing around with different guns, different carry styles, and different shooting. The biggest thing for us is trying to get a newer perspective in terms of what to look for, and because there's a lot of confusing things on the market in terms of what firearms companies are trying to push. Like you see newer Glock killers, air quotes. Obviously, you see competition in the compact, subcompact, and the whole striker fire market for concealed carry is completely insane, especially with the variety of things that you can get out of a gun,
The
single
compact
action,
market
double
has
action.
exploded
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
recent
you
years.
saw a lot of it start with the Shield. That was really what reinvigorated the subcompact carry market because
Yeah.
before, what was sexy and in vogue was carrying a Glock 19, and that's it.
A J frame on the ankle.
Or yeah, J frame and a Glock 19. That was your compact gun. That was what you needed to carry, and we've kind of moved away from that way of thinking to understand that comfort and your desire to carry a gun is super important because if it's super big, you may not leave the house with it. And if it's not super fun to shoot, you may not go practice with it. So there's
Yeah.
things that matter that aren't as like super tactical Timmy, things like that. So in terms of what does the newer shooter want? What does the newer shooter want?
I don't know.
If only we had a newer shooter to tell us what she or he may want.
A he she newer
A he she.
shooter.
No, it's a she.
It's a she and it's my
Oh,
wife.
it's a she. Wow.
So this is our first official introduction for my wife, who's obviously done the intro for the show. We have her
She sounds familiar.
She does. You should know her voice. You hear it every time you hit
My
play.
squeaky voice.
So Kevin and I are talking about what you think or what people want and what things they find important for carrying a gun. And we've been doing it for a while now, and obviously we're not our what we're shopping for in a handgun and defensive tools is going to be completely different than anybody else. And obviously we're not new. So as a newer shooter, because you just started to get into this and you just got your first official carry gun, would you like
my carry gun? It's a Beretta ADX Cheetah. I had a Ruger something.
Yeah, Max 9.
Oh, a Ruger Max 9, but
Yep.
I never shot it.
Nope.
Thing just sat there staring at me. And I mean, I practiced like, pulling the slide and stuff, but I never got to the range because I didn't really like the gun, but I didn't say no to when we purchased it. Because, yeah, that's, I guess.
Well, initially, I know you liked how it felt in your hand, but past that, there wasn't really.
Yeah.
The gun's so crappy, it's forgettable.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We usually get pretty attached to the guns that we have in the house. She has guns she likes, and I have guns I like. But this gun, we were like, what do we do with this?
I like how she articulates the Beretta Cheetah very well, and then she's like, and then I had a Ruger.
Yeah, it's a forgettable gun, right?
Something.
Yeah.
It was Ruger, I think. Perhaps. So, I don't know.
What exactly are you hoping for when it comes to like concealed carry or carrying a gun for self-protection?
So for me, it's like basically to carry, it's like to have a why, like what's your purpose for carrying. And like for me, it's because we just had a son.
Yep.
And so if I'm going to go out by myself to places that are shady, I should probably be concealed for safety purposes.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you wanting to know like what I want?
Yeah, I mean,
like as in terms of concealing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so what are you expecting? Or is there any kind of expectation?
Like how do you plan on concealing?
How do you plan? How do you plan on?
Well, I don't even have a holster. I have to get a holster.
Right.
I have to find the right one. But when I can't, like where my place of employment, I can't conceal. So can't even like do the purse style, which we thought about. But we also thought about doing the way that you conceal.
Yeah, the filster.
The filster.
I think that would work.
The filster or the shorts, because they have shorts for women. Yep. But unfortunately with my job, I can't conceal, so I'd have to conceal like when we go to parks and stuff like that. I do have dummy ammo for my Beretta. I just have to practice because it's very different.
Well, that and it is a little harder for us to get to the range as of late. Yeah. So as much I've been trying to teach her as much as possible, but she's been definitely excited about it.
I've had the same problem trying to train myself on my carry too. It's just,
dry fire is super boring. And it's not sexy and it's not loud.
It's boring,
it's boring.
You should be doing it and practicing so that if for some reason you were to have to pull a gun, you know what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Stop speaking facts and truth.
No more facts.
And then
I don't want to hear them.
So I have my gun. I need to buy the holster. I have the optics from my Ruger because it's actually a really good optic. I just have to get the optics plate to put it on my gun.
Yeah, what the hell, Beretta? Why did you not... They didn't give us the optics plate with the gun.
A separate plate for the optics on the Beretta. Interesting.
It was so stupid. It's like the Walther one, except it's not free. At least Walther, you call them and they send you one for free. Beretta's like, nope, $50.
Well,
oh.
$50? That's like
and then I also have to buy the ammo, which it's 380 ACP.
Yep.
May I ask a question? So if you're, and this is for Hannah, if you're, so you're starting out with this 380, great, thumbs up, amazing. Are you ever going to perhaps move into the subcompact 9mm world later on?
Yeah, I'm not against it. I think I want to get comfortable.
Okay.
With this gun, and then because it's smaller, right? The ammo is smaller.
Yeah, yes, it's a short 9. Yeah.
Yeah, it's less peppy.
So it's less
just
recoil.
just hound
yeah,
brace
I want
to
to get
you
used to less
92x
recoil and get
compact.
more comfortable on my grip on the gun, and really shooting it well, and then go up to the 9. I mean, Bryce has a 9mm. It's what's the one?
48.
No, Brownie.
17. Oh, my Glock. Yeah, the 17.
He has a 17, and that has a red dot on it, and I like shooting that one. I mean, it doesn't scare me. I just want to start
that's full size,
slow.
So that's and we'll kind of elaborate on that probably at a different date. We can talk about the difference between bigger guns and smaller guns. But once you start shrinking the gun, and you still use a full power cartridge, air quotes, full power, like my 48, you've shot that. It's kind of peppy. It's got.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I did not brace myself for that.
Yeah, it's not. We, in her defense, we went from shooting the 17, and she was like, "Well, is that a 9?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but."
And then you're like, "Just do it."
Yeah, you gotta grip it, grip it, and rip it.
It's a peppy 9 with a crappy trigger. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. It's mushy.
So to recap, I have my Beretta ADX Cheetah. I'm really excited to go to the range. You have to do the class at the range, which won't be as long because I've been to the range several times, so I know I feel pretty confident at the range.
You're understanding the manual of arms and your pistol.
I have to order my holster, the optics plate, then I just have to put the optics on from my Ruger to the Beretta. I also need to learn how to properly dry fire. And then when I get my holster, I need to learn how to draw my gun from the holster.
Yeah. So drawing, we'll definitely discuss that later. But in terms of the things that you've been doing so far, it's been, I mean, she's a very quick study, so she's been doing a good job.
I've been trying to take as much time with having a kid. I've been trying to take as much time as I can so that I can really retain the information.
Yeah.
I think I shock myself at times when I say things, and you look at me and you're like, you haven't even really looked at your workbook in a while, and I'm like, well, it's sticking.
My notes. I need my notes.
I need my notes. My notes are my life.
Well, this will not be the last time we hear from my wife, but she has mom things to do, so I just appreciate her coming on. And
it was
Kevin,
awesome.
do you have any more?
You have any more questions?
Questions for the great Hanyan? No.
Hannah Montana.
Oh, I'm sorry, Montana Hannah. My bad. All right. No, I think we covered the tits of the situation pretty well.
Now, Kevin, you can't just say that and then not define what that is.
Oh.
Before I get demonetized immediately.
I thought we were getting demonetized for the copyright strike. I meant to say
technical. Oh, yeah.
The technical interpretation, total security. Or tits.
Now that we've kind of listened to a very, very well thought out rationale from my wife, just kind of going over what the state of the 2024 handgun market is. She talked about how she's got the 380 Beretta ADX, and Kevin has the P365 XL, and I carry a Glock 48. Those are all relatively similarly sized handguns, and I would say the most popular format for that kind of gun is about that kind of gun right now in terms of like the P365 macro. Even the Glock 43X, while it has a shorter muzzle or shorter barrel length, it still has the same grip length. You end up with like the offerings from FN. You see the PSA daggers. You see there's a whole market that went from air quotes compact guns to these plus size subcompact guns, and it seems as if we're starting to go back up in size. Ironically, because if you look at the P365 macro, it's Glock 19 sized. The Glock 48, people are putting magwells, comps, and lights, TLR 7s, and optics on, and it ends up as a Glock 19 size. People are doing the same exact thing to P365s, and you've lost a lot of that concealment. So basically, these companies, obviously, they're going to follow where the money is, and if people are
Right.
doing all these things, that's what they're going to start turning out.
Well, it's interesting to me how we have these compacts, like I'll say the P365 because that's what I carry. It like they have the macro, which you're kind of getting further away from that ease of concealment.
Right.
I will say this though. There's I think it's called mag guts. Is that what it is? I'm thinking of.
Oh, is that the plus
Yeah,
one or two?
it's the +2 spring for the normal 12 round standard OEM mags from SIG, and you lose no concealment because it fits flush with the gun. I'm putting about I'd say 300 rounds or so, 500 rounds on the mag. I have a test mag that I take to the range, and I've had no malfunctions, mag related malfunctions or malfunctions in general, but none that I can trace to the mag spring, which
Right,
I'm very
specifically the mag spring.
yeah, specifically. The only problem is the spring costs almost as much as like a 15 round capacity mag from SIG. So I mean, I like it. I gotta put a couple hundred more rounds, maybe 1,000 through it before I try and conceal carry. With I might probably 2,000. I'll say 2,000 rounds. After that, I'll be confident I can carry it with it not being an issue.
It's a flat wire spring, right?
Yeah, yes, a flat wire
Okay,
spring.
so those are theoretically more resilient than like a normal coil spring, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, I
Theoretically.
mean, yeah, air quote theoretically.
Yeah, right. So I guess where we're kind of going with this is what the market is telling you you need is a subcompact gun that isn't a subcompact gun. So I guess what I would offer is,
A full size
are
subcompact.
people yeah, right. So my biggest critique with smaller guns is how much meat I can get on my on my handgun, how
How
much
much meat can
control
you
I
get
can
on the
get out of
gun?
it. Because I mean, in terms of how I shoot a gun, I mean, I'm really squeezing on the gun, and obviously the more hand you can get on the gun, the more control you have. So when you start getting skinnier and skinnier, you can start getting less and less of your hands on it, and then your support hand ends up basically just holding your other hand, which is basically engulfing, especially on my Glock 48. I
I
effectively get no support hand contact on my gun.
I feel like there's an innuendo out there that we should be making, but we're not. About
We're maturing. We've matured
about
past that.
printing meat on things and
Oh yeah,
wrangling
for
meat.
sure.
You've been wrangling your meat gun.
I've been wrangling the meat on my gun.
Pew pew
So
pew.
I guess what I'm kind of going at here is people need to really take an honest assessment of their requirements for a handgun. Do they need that small of a gun? Because I feel like we've gone to too much, and before it was comfort doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about that. You need to have a howitzer in your pants, otherwise you're completely undergunned. Well,
Grandma pulling a
obviously
500
it's
Smith and Wesson out of her purse.
like that meme that was going around forever. So the idea being that the bigger the gun is, the easier it is to fight with, right? So you need to weigh that in your ability to shoot that gun to how concealable it needs to be. So you should carry the biggest gun you can, not the smallest gun you can.
Right.
It should be, the thinking should be flipped. It should be, okay, well, this gun's super easy to conceal, but can I conceal a larger one? Which is why my wife she didn't really like the Max 9. She couldn't get all of her hand on it, especially as a newer shooter. That's basically like telling her to get a modern day J frame,
Right.
which is not a great recommendation. It needs to be easier. She needs to, especially as a newer shooter, it
Right.
would be
Well,
more of a confidence boost for her if she feels good shooting it and she's getting good results versus
right.
a small snappy gun that sucks.
And the other thing to consider about yeah, carry the biggest gun you can. Also, the continuum of force. We talked about pocket knife, mace, a light used for offensive or defensive uses. So you
A
really
layered
gotta
defense.
a layer of defense. You gotta think about, yeah, guns are great, but this whole I need the smallest gun possible to conceal.
Well, I feel as if we've come full circle, and now we have modern day J frames, which ended up being like our shields, our
Oh, and the
PPSs, our
dots
Glock
on them.
43s. Yeah, and I mean, we've come full circle, and people carry these subcompact guns, but when they go to the range, they don't shoot them because they're not fun. And that, I feel
No,
like, that's
the-
a big part of it. Yes, guns are tools, but if you're not enjoying practicing, you're
it,
probably going to do it less unless you have a ridiculous amount of self-control. I hate shooting my Glock 48, but for me, I kind of have to. I have to
well,
practice.
well, it's
It's not
like
fun.
yeah, it's like you're a carpenter and you have a hammer, and you have to use that hammer, right? You can't just buy a hammer from Walmart, never use it, and then use it when you have to build a frame or something. You're gonna be like, I don't know.
And then complain why while you can't use it, right?
Right, right. Yeah, you really gotta put the time and effort into behind the carry, and I'm trying to do that more. I'm trying to go to that indoor.
I feel as if a lot of people can kind of disregard what's going on in the modern handgun market. And I know that's a bold
Well,
statement or stance
it
to take,
hasn't
but in terms
changed.
of
It hasn't
things,
changed.
it hasn't.
All they're doing,
The biggest change that we've gotten is like firing control modules, like
right?
P360 or P365s and
Well,
echelons and
yeah. I,
whatever else.
I mean, the change that I feel that they're making, and you can feel free to disagree, but I feel like they're making it easier to get quality firearms for a cheaper cost. Like they're
Oh,
doing the same
absolutely.
gun, but they're trying to make it cheaper, so the barrier to entry is less.
Right. Well, so I mean, you can see a lot of the popularity. You're basically everything that's coming out is super popular for carry, with the exception of a couple niche guns, like not niche guns necessarily, but guns that are specifically driven for competition or air quotes duty use or whatever serious application insert whatever you want. Guns that people typically are trying to conceal are striker fired, double stack, and generally 9 millimeter. And then once they start getting smaller, they're still double stacked, they're still 9 millimeter, and they're just getting smaller. And people don't like shooting them because they're 9 millimeter and they're smaller.
I'm waiting for I'm
So
waiting for the
again,
I'm
I
waiting
come
for the
back to my
Gons
argument.
caliber some compacts.
Well, so Glock just came out with their Gen 5 30S. Like they won't kill
No,
off their
my
subcompact
wrist.
their 45s. So we basically in the 80s we ended up with Glocks, and then they just didn't go away. Glock hasn't changed. You just get some random variation on it, and then other companies trying to do the same exact thing. So at the end of the day, it's pick your poison. You can go with the M&Ps, you can go with the Walthers, you can go with any of these guns, as long as don't get too wrapped up about this new this influencer's telling me to buy this gun because of this thing, and it's and the biggest faff right now is those swappable grip modules and the firing control units.
Whoa,
No one that
swappable
really
grip
shoots does
modules.
that.
Wow, I can swap.
Kevin's had his P365 for years, and he's never switched the grip frame.
I have
Never once.
I have toyed with the idea, but they don't have the manual safety one in the color I want. So
Well, and it's funny because that was one of his arguments when he got it. He was like, "I can change it around," and I'm like, "You're not gonna." And he's
don't
like,
tell
"No,
me
no,
what
no,
I'm
no,
gonna do.
you don't know, man. I'll make another gun," and I'm like, "No, if you want another gun, people just buy another gun." And then fast forward to years later, and he's like, "Kind of just want a different gun." I'm like, "No way, that's crazy."
Shut up. You will not stop me from the PDP. The PDP will happen.
So everything's a Glock, basically. Just buy a gun that
Buy a
you
Glock.
like. Don't get too wrapped up. I mean, don't get too
Buy
wrapped
a
up
dagger.
about little. Well, so my first gun, I told you what my first gun, a 5-inch gun. I got an FNS because I was like, oh well, everybody has a Glock. I don't want to be boring. Well, that's stupid. Everybody has a Glock for a reason, and they don't really make FNSs weren't as
Here we
popular
are
because the
years
parts
later, ladies and
compatibility.
gentlemen, and he has a device.
Everybody's running FNSs. They're overrunning the
Bryce
market.
is always behind the trend. He's like, I got a Glock, guys. I'm fine. Wait, what? You have Walthers now?
Ow.
Damn.
So I guess that's what it is people. I definitely feel like when you're first getting into firearms and you're really getting into it, and it's not necessarily just a tool, because there's different layers to firearms ownership,
Right.
and that's okay. Like, you don't have to be hyper nerd, but people, I feel like, make sacrifices based around, oh, well, I don't want what everybody else has. Well, everybody else has a gun, probably a similar gun,
Right.
for a reason. Like, everybody was using Glock 19s 7 years ago because they were relatively concealable-ish. They had 15 rounds. They were absolutely reliable. There's infinite amount of parts for it. Like, I mean, the parts are dollars, not 20, or like, it's in the single digits, maybe doubles.
It's a tool. At the end of the day, if you're carrying for your own
Right.
defense or defense of others, it's a tool.
Right. Don't get too wrapped around about brands necessarily. Try a bunch of guns out. If you like the gun and it has a solid reputation in terms of reliability, and however many people use it, find some people that you respect. Do a lot of research. Yeah, I cannot push that enough, because there's a lot of people online that get paid to push you or paid to sell you on something, and it may not be the best thing. So, and it's very easy for a newer shooter to see that and kind of get blinded by the glitz and glamour of an influencer with night vision telling you that this little subcompact's the way to go, right? So find I think the best thing I can say is do your research.
Go.
I don't know. You can listen to our podcast. We're pretty cool.
Go to the gun store. Don't be afraid to talk to the gun guy. Don't be afraid to touch guns. Don't be pressured into thinking you have to buy something sight unseen, because you can touch things no matter how annoyed they are, or how much they roll their eyes, or mutter silly things to you about things that may or may not be true.
I think the last thing to think about is you can carry a bigger gun than you think you can. And no, not everybody's looking at you. I know you're going to think that, but you're fine. Leave the gun alone. Keep it concealed. You're okay.
Yeah, don't do the telltale signs in the shirt pull or the...
Yeah, stop picking. Leave it alone. And one thing to leave on is that the people that you carry a gun for know what to look for. So you playing with the gun and trying to fix it and picking at it and doing things like that is a telltale sign to people that know what they're looking for. Right. Everyday Tom, Dick, and Terrys aren't seeing that. But the people you're trying to conceal against can't.
Yeah, and most people in the modern day world are not looking, at your crotch.
Right. You can be behind the hip, you can be belly band, you can be enigma, appendix, however off body. Like, I'm not saying no to a lot of those. We can go into it in a little bit more detail, but this is more to kind of hone in. I'm sure we'll definitely do more episodes about this. This is an endless topic we can absolutely talk on.
Oh yeah.
And eventually I'll do some videos with me shooting at the Monday night competitions that I occasionally go to. Wow. And I shoot with my concealment guns. I shoot with the concealment guns. I don't have a competition rig. I shoot from concealment with my carry gun.
Do you use concealment ammo? That's the question we want to know.
I don't sling gold dots downrange. I'm sorry.
Come on.
I can't
You have the money.
I'm not Mr. Moneybags here. I can't
turn around down
but
you got this.
This won't be the last time we talk about this, but I think that's a good place to kind of leave it and to start the discussion and just kind of introducing my wife in a more official fashion. She's definitely going to be back on. We love to have her, and we really appreciate that she's the intro. Thank you, honey.
Yes, Hannah. Woohoo!
So with that being said, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. It's all the Carry Handle Podcast and variations of that. Well, no variations. It's just the Carry
Yeah,
Handle podcast. Find us
what
everywhere.
variations are you talking about?
I have no idea. And if you're not listening on Spotify, go there. Go listen on Spotify. And if you're listening on Spotify, go to YouTube because YouTube's cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to do more shorts and stuff, but do all the things like, comment, subscribe, do the things, and thanks so much for listening.
Adios.
Bye. Nothing's really. I farted. We can touch on how nothing's really.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh my god. I just thought I'd let everybody know there was some tootage.